Hey guys, welcome to tonight's reading. I really feel led to do this because I feel at this time we are healing. I feel like we're going through a transition time that needs to happen, but is kind of scary because it's unknown. So it's something that is almost like picture a birth canal. You know, I'm sure as infants, when we're coming through that, it's quite scary because it's not something that we've experienced before, right? So I feel like when we're coming through this time and we're starting to realize who we are, what we are, and how mankind has kind of manipulated it just enough to corrupt our minds with it. So now that this is all coming to light and people are starting to show their true colors, or maybe you're seeing situations that are quite different in your head now that you're an adult or now that you have healed some. So I just felt led that I should do this. I felt like I should kind of give a little bit of hope to your thought process, I guess, because again, we're human. We have to go through this. It's part of our experience here, right? It's part of, it kind of makes me want to cry because it's like when you put it into that perspective, you start to realize like there actually is meaning to be here. And if we did ask God, consciousness, you know, to come down here and sign this contract with this deity, basically, consciousness, then I feel like I can't get real mad when something comes at me, or I can't get real upset or get bothered emotionally, holding on to that particular, call it a stress, call it a trigger, right? I feel like when you start to let go of those things, or even those patterns of indoctrination, or just things that you've been taught throughout your life, you know, I mean, your thought process has changed somewhat from, you know, a couple years to a couple years, right? Because you're learning. So if you're learning, then your knowledge is greater because you've experienced more. That's why I think sometimes if the black sheep or the people that have had a really horrendous life, I feel like those are the people that have woken up years ago. I think almost we were born awake. But in stepping into your power, stepping into your truth, I feel like that's when we heal. I feel like that's when, oh, great card. I feel like that's when we begin to transform our lives, because it's our power. It's not their power. It's not anybody else's power. It's almost like you're a sovereignty within your own being, you know, because essentially we're one consciousness. And I feel like if we keep that in mind, or if we keep that at least seated, you know, just don't forget it, I guess. And you really start to kind of work on your path. You start to work on, like, you kind of, like, okay, so here's how I did this. I felt like I kind of had to take myself back to when I was a kid. What did I think then? What was I wanting in life then? You know, looking at it now, you kind of go, oh, that's, you know, that's chuckle worthy, right? But really, what did I want? What did I really think? How did I think I was going to be in adulthood? Am I that? Did I follow through with what I thought originally? Because that originally came from childhood. Same storyline. It's your storyline, right? So I just feel like when we get back to that, that's energy. This is beautiful. It really makes me want to cry, y'all. The first card is, I witness the darkness and call on the light with my prayer. So right off the bat, within that first sentence, I would say, I witness the darkness and call on the light with prayer. Okay, so you've witnessed a lot of darkness, especially through these last couple years with this Biden regime. But now you're starting to go, you know what? This really is all an illusion. This really is all a facade. Society has made things be a certain way to fit a certain agenda. So now you're kind of getting back to like the basics. You're calling on the light with prayer. You're kind of, God is going to wake you up. And when I say God, I'm saying universal energy. I'm saying source energy. It's literally where you came from. Okay. And when you call on that, that also means you're calling on your inner light. You're calling on something divine within yourself out, okay? Because think about it. All of this stuff within society, their definition of what opinions they should have or whatnot, that is all a cover that you almost have to break out of, right? It's the matrix, right? So if you figure if you're a kid and you have all these indoctrinations and all these layers to yourself, right? You end up in this little, like, it's almost like you're the little peanut of the M&M, and all these layers of chocolate, you know, are covering you. So you really have to think about who you were back then. Discover your light. Don't you remember, like, just thinking the world was great and there was so much that you can accomplish, or there was, so, you know, it just seemed easier. Now I'm a 1973 baby, but it just seemed easier. Well, until I called that power back, or until I called that specific light back, and that specific light is mine. It's mine. Nobody can take it from me. Nobody can tell me otherwise, you know? So thank you, universe, for guiding me to perceive this fear through the eyes of the teacher of love. Okay, so the teacher of love is God. That's universal energy. Again, God is love. So if you can look at it, if you can look at life through that, right? Through like, okay, well, people are at different stages or different platforms in their life. They have to, just like we have to, go through each little line. Now I talk about on my snap, I talk about, I use the metaphor of a hotel, and that's the different platforms that we have to get through. Well, some of them, if you notice that you'll recycle a lot of them, right? You're continuing this same little pattern, so you're never getting up to that second floor. 3D, which I say is the lobby, 3D energy is very dense. There's a lot of people there. Think about it. Every time you go on vacation, you're in the lobby, there's a shit ton of people. Everybody's everywhere. You know, everybody's kind of pissy because we've been driving or riding, traveling, whatever, right? That's very dense energy. We want to move up to the different levels, right? Well, doing that, you have to find your power within who you are, and that's going to be through emotional stability. You are so strong if you can control or balance your emotions. That's it. Because we're all one collective, but think about it. If we've all gone through these different examples of life or experiences of life, right? If we've all gone through them, and we all have, so nobody's like excluded from it. But if we all have, then shouldn't we have some compassion at some point to be able to recognize that hurt in the other person and just let them do what they have to do, let them say what they have to say, and then just like not respond, right? You're not really here to respond. You're here to help. So as a light worker, once you call the light back into you, well, it's never gone. Honestly, it's never gone. You, I don't want to say you, but yes, you. And then society has diminished that. Again, you're like a little peanut with all these layers of chocolate on top of you. It's a big mess, okay? You have to break out of that. When I accept the love of the universe, when I accept where I came from, and I accept and surrender that, you know what, God, I can't do this on my own. I need to call on my ancestors. I need to call on my angels. I need to start actually practicing what Jesus practiced in this book, right? So if I have to do that, when I accept the love of the universe, I accept it as my primary teacher. Okay, that's love of the universe. That means it's very hard to have to live out of a love kind of mentality all the time when there's so many people in the lobby, okay? It's really hard sometimes to anchor that light when you see somebody running off at the mouth, Okay, you can't take things like that personally because that's all emotions. What that person is doing is literally barfing all of their childhood traumas, all of their skeletons, all of their, shadows, all of this stuff. They're barfing it on you. So if you can hold on to your light, your personal light, right? That's yours. Hold on to it and know who you are within that light. Then I feel like then you can always be guided back to the light, which is you. Because essentially, think about it. If somebody runs off at the mouth at you, right, and you don't respond and you hold on to the light and you're like, you know what, I know who I am. Whatever they said to me actually isn't true. And even if it is true, it really doesn't matter. They're spouting off. They're running off at the mouth due to childhood traumas, because that's not really how you should live. You should actually live in light energy, and that person doesn't. So at some point you have to kind of go, okay, well, this person is at this particular stage in their growth, right? Maybe they haven't looked at all of their shadows, right? And that's okay, because there was a time in my life that I was not looking at some of my shadows. Not happening. So when I accept the love of the universe as my primary teacher, I will always be guided back to the light. And again, it's light energy. Okay, there's a dark energy, and that's Satan, and then there's a light energy, and that's God, universe. Okay, universal energy is of light. It's good, it's bad, either or. There's a dark and a light. There's children of the light, and there's children of the dark. Okay, same principle. You'll always be guided back to the light. So that also means that when you do start to maybe feel like you're falling off track, or maybe something isn't enough for you, or maybe you don't feel enough for something else, I need you to understand that you're of love, okay? That's your primary teacher. Go back into yourself as a kid and go, you know what? Am I actually that? Do I actually reside in that energy? No, actually I don't. So whatever that other person is saying to me actually doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that you have to defend yourself, okay? You don't. There's no reason to defend yourself, because essentially they're going through their own problems, okay? Okay, so this last card is energy flows where my intention goes. Exactly. So say you went to apologize to somebody. I caught myself in this. I went to apologize to somebody, and they did not accept that, and totally like sabotaged my character, all the things, right? And I was just so taken back by that, I think, because I really went with good intentions to really apologize and go, hey, like, I'm really sorry. Maybe I was being a bitch that day, like whatever. Like, I just wanted to make sure that me and this person were good. Well, they didn't accept that. God knows my intentions. God knows my heart and how I presented it, like, to them. Like, hey, this is this, blah, 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 So don't always think that that other person has to accept your forgiveness. They don't have to. That's their own storyline. Again, if that person is at a lower dense level on the hotel floors, again, using it as a metaphor, if they're at the lower dense levels, you kind of have to expect that kind of behavior, right? As you move up to the different levels and you start to get higher into the floor lines, then you can see further. Then the vision becomes clearer because you're not stuck down in this lower dimensions. So always go back to it. Go back to universal energy. That's your primary teacher. Go back to who you are, because you're a soul having a human experience. You're literally in a meat suit, your soul. So how are you going to conduct yourself, your soul, in this meat suit on earth right now? Is it of light? Is it of dark? Are you walking around like Tasmanian devil just wrecking people? That's no bueno. But you also have to realize that other people are on their own storyline too. Okay, that's their storyline. You can't do anything about that. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I'm going to pull one more. I love this. This is great. So much healing. And look, even the moon phases are happening right now. There's so much going on, and even in the media, things are coming out. Praise the Lord. And it's just an exciting time to be alive. And I guess it kind of hurts my heart or hurts my feelings that some people are just, they don't see that. They don't see that this is like a really great time to heal those things. Like really look inside and really, some of those things maybe you don't want to see those skeletons, or maybe you don't want to see those shadows, but maybe everybody else around you sees those shadows, right? So you might as well do something with it, because if everybody else is seeing it and you're not, or you refuse to, then actually what are you doing? You know, you're denying yourself this light, this abundance, this joy, peace, like all of that. You're denying yourself that, which is end up being a block. You know, when you deny something good in your life, like healing, yes, again, it's scary. I get it, okay? I totally get it. You know, there's going to be days that you're just really kind of feeling like shit, you know? And when you're blue like that, figure out what those triggers are. Figure out why. Why are you blue? You know, instead of going to 3 of your friends and telling them why you're blue, you know, figure out why you're blue. That's where you're going to start. That's where you're going to figure out where your traumas are. Deep replenishment, retreat, rest, be held, okay? I think a lot of times we put up so many blocks in our lives to where it's like we just don't, it's almost like we go numb. We don't even know how to feel anymore, you know? And I just feel like it's like, give yourself permission to exist. Like, that's just, I had to do that. And it still chokes me up when I say it. I had to do that. And for a long time, I didn't do that. You know? Okay, let me run one more. And I think it stunted my growth, my personal growth. It stunted me. You know, because, I mean, shit, I'm almost 50. You know, I'm like, damn, shouldn't I be getting so much farther? You know, but again, that's going to be where God, you know, God's going to wake you up when it's time. You have to go through some shit. You got to see it. Just like all this shit with Trump. All these people, like Democrats, liberals, all them, they have to see it. Even Republicans. Look, I can't even keep them out. It's just, honestly, if it's across the board like that, then honestly, it's just a mentality. You know, it's where you're at in your mind frame of reality, honestly. That's what I think anyway. You know, just don't count yourself out. You know, maybe other people have, and that's fine. Let them. You know, because again, when we interface with God, what's that going to do? What are you going to say? Ooh, actually, I picked 2. Ha, we'll go with 2. Huh, that's funny. Don't dim to fit in. How are you dimming your light in order to fit in? You're blocking yourself from abundance for other people that are on their own path, okay? That's them. Because think about it. Haven't you had friends before where you're like, you really did, now looking at it, you're kind of like, wow, I really did put a lot of energy into that person. And really, what did I get out of it? You know, at that time, I stunt my growth. You know, I'm stunting my progress in who I am for what I'm supposed to do here on earth. Or maybe I'm stunting my emotional capacity to help others. Maybe I'm supposed to use my voice to help others. And I'm stifled by society. You know, don't dim to fit in. That's like shine bright. Dance with life. Do something to change your energy. Okay, this is so important because throughout life, we're going to be in the lobby, okay, of all these dense people, all these different energies around us, right? You have to learn to discern that. One, understand the energies around you. You can protect yourself if you need to, if you're an empath, if you're sensitive. But also, you have to change your energy when you're in those kind of places, dimensions, okay? Earth is a very much 3D, very dense reality, okay? Very superficial, very egotistical, very greedy. It's gross, okay? Do something to change your energy. So when you're going through life and you're having like conversations with people, you may have to because of your career field. I understand that. But you can protect yourself too, but don't dim your light within the process. You know, change your energy to protect yourself from those people. If you just let all this energy just keep coming into you or even attaching themselves to you, you are exhausted. You will be exhausted, absolutely exhausted, because their energy drains your energy or they suck the life out of you, okay? Make sure that you understand your darkness, understand where you came from, understand the experiences that you had to have while you're here on earth. You had to have them to get to this. You have to have a dance with life. It's almost like when a kid's, you know, I saw a TikTok. This guy was talking about his kid, that they were at like a park, and the little kid looked up and saw like the trees or whatever, but on the sidewalk it was shadows and then light and then shadows, and then you could see like the sun coming through, right? Well, it's funny because the little girl was like, you just have to stay in the light. And I thought that was a like little tear, like just out of the mouths of babes, right? But you just have to stay in the light. So when you're dancing in life and you're kind of dodging the little, you know, the shaded parts of your sidewalk of life, just understand that there's a little bit of, there will be light right around the corner for you. Okay, that's this. You'll always be guided back to the light, always. So if you're using your sidewalk as a metaphor and you're walking through this shaded area and you see light and then you see like the shade and that kind of stuff, I encourage you to maybe do a little hop, skip, and a jump. Just jump in those lights and understand that, this is so powerful. I'm gonna fucking cry. Just understand that energy flows where my intentions go. So if we get back to who we are and back to a childlike, a childlike mind frame, then we can dance in life. I just want to leave you with that. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry for I'm fleshing out shadows too, myself. I appreciate your time. Thank you.